Welcome in, everyone. If you're joining us today, I know you've got that specific learner mindset. You know, you're curious, you want to look a little closer at the world.
Absolutely. The best kind of audience.
Right. And today we've put together a really special, curated deep dive just for you. Because we're looking at a text that basically asks a terrifying question. What happens when the hyper efficient modern systems we rely on every day just absolutely crash into a messy human reality that refuses to be paved over?
Yeah, it's a massive question. And the text we're using to explore it is, it's really unique.
It really is. It's an avant-garde two-part text by this authorial duo known as Max and Claude.
Right.
And it actually contains two interconnected philosophical novels. You've got The Cartography of Humid Functions by Penix de Gufo, and then Failures of Adhesion by Apenex Zeralt.
And, these two pieces, they operate almost like mirror images of each other.
Totally.
Like the first one gives us this really surreal look at a town built on this strange memory-holding groundwater. And the second one drops us into this sterile institution that's perfectly engineered to strip away human individuality.
So it's really about how we fit into the systems around us. Okay, let's unpack this by starting with the first novel, The Cartography of Humid Functions.
Yeah, the origin story of the town.
Exactly. We get the origin of this unnamed town, but it doesn't start with, a grand visionary founder.
No, not at all.
It's basically a drainage problem. You have these three totally blind movements converging on one spot: a railway company looking for a flat route, a mining operation looking for copper, and this Catholic seminary led by a guy named Father Vestini.
And Vestini, he just wants dry air and to be super far away from the city.
Right, isolation. But the crucial thing is the actual land they're building on, because the town sits on this really dense clay substrate.
Yeah, the geology is super important here.
It is. And under that clay is this vein of earth where the groundwater doesn't act like a normal aquifer. The text says it hesitates.
Right, it hesitates, it pools, it gets stuck.
Yeah. But there is one guy who actually understands what's going on down there, this local man named Heinrich.
I love the Heinrich detail.
It's so good because he doesn't have geological surveys or anything. The text just says he knew the water was there because, quote, his boots knew it.
Yeah, and that phrase, his boots knew it, that's really the crux of this entire first conflict.
How so?
Well, it represents embodied knowledge. Think of a seasoned mechanic who can just listen to a car engine for 5 seconds and tell you the timing belt is bad.
Oh, right, just by the sound or the feel of it.
Exactly. They aren't looking at a diagnostic computer. Their body has just learned the language of the machine. Heinrich has walked this land for decades.
Yes,
His muscles just implicitly understand the resistance of the mud.
But the seminary and the railway, they completely ignore him.
Totally ignore him, because they operate within what the text calls the apparatus.
The apparatus, which is basically the bureaucratic system, right? Like laws, permits, official legibility.
Yeah, legibility is the perfect word. The apparatus only recognizes what is legible to it. A topographical map is legible, a property deed is legible, but Heinrich's, intuitive relationship with the mud, that's completely illegible.
They don't have a checkbox for boots on their clipboards.
Right. So the system just moves forward based on the data it can actually read.
And that blind spot leads to this quiet but honestly terrifying disaster for the seminary. Father Vestini builds his massive stone institution right on top of this hesitating water.
Because they think it's solid rock.
Exactly. And during the humid months, the water literally starts interacting with the bodies of the young men studying there.
The symptoms are so bizarre, too.
They really are. The seminarians start sweating at these totally inappropriate times. They feel this crushing heaviness, like gravity is doubled in the dorms.
And they're waking up completely soaked.
Right. And there's this one guy, Brother Tomas, who keeps a secret journal. And he writes this haunting line. He says, "The water rises through us."
Wow.
He notices they start weeping constantly, but they aren't sad. It's just mechanical weeping, just water escaping their bodies.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the concept of humid functions. That's what de Gufo introduces here.
Break that down for us.
So the water in this universe isn't just regular H2O. It's this conductive medium for human experience. It absorbs and transmits what the author calls traces.
Traces of the people above it.
Exactly. Every ounce of dread, every prayer, every drop of sweat gets soaked into the aquifer. The water is a collective memory bank.
So it's basically like the Earth is this massive geological hard drive,
Oh, that's a great analogy.
and the institution, the apparatus, is building right on top of it, completely unaware that it's recording everything. They don't have the right ports to read the data,
Right, so the data just shorts out the hardware, it leaks right into the people.
which eventually kills Brother Tomas. He dies of a fever exactly when the groundwater hits maximum saturation under his bed,
And the system just files it away as a fever, totally blind to the truth.
which is a perfect pivot, actually, because how does a modern bureaucratic system handle this exact same magical groundwater decades later?
Oh man, the modern section is so painfully relatable.
Right. So we jump forward, the seminary's a ruin, and we meet this guy, Marco. He works for the city's permit office.
The ultimate apparatus worker.
Yeah. And when Marco was a kid, he actually used to play in those humid ruins, so he unknowingly absorbed some of that lingering dread into his nervous system.
His body remembers it?
But now he has a desk job,
Yeah.
and this massive development company wants a permit to bulldoze the ruins and build a luxury wellness center. Marco looks at the application, and he feels this intense, intuitive wrongness.
His boots know it, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the paperwork is flawless. Every zoning law, every environmental survey is perfect.
And this highlights how the modern apparatus works. It only recognizes what can be measured and documented. Marco's human intuition is completely illegible to the machine he works for.
So wait, the apparatus isn't actively evil, right? It's just hopelessly blind to anything that doesn't fit on a clipboard or a permit application.
I think that's exactly it. It requires legibility to function. It needs to turn messy human reality into discrete data points. So Marco, lacking a data field for childhood dread, approves the permit.
Which displaces all that hesitating water. The wellness center turns on its massive pumps, and the water gets shoved into this nearby apartment complex.
Right, into Vera's apartment.
Yeah, Vera. Her walls literally start streaming with displaced water, and she starts experiencing the heaviness, the constant weeping, and even visions of the past like Brother Tomas had.
Because she's absorbing those historical traces.
And the dark irony here is just, it's wild. The wellness center is commercializing that same water for spa treatments. Wealthy clients are paying to feel rejuvenated, utterly unaware they are bathing in the traces of dead seminarians.
While also contributing their own new traces to the aquifer. It's this cycle of commodified trauma.
Just incredible. So that's the first novel, where the system fails to understand nature. But the second novel, Failures of Adhesion.
Oh, this is a massive shift in tone.
Yeah. We move from a system that ignores what it can't measure to an institution designed to break down human nature entirely.
Yeah, if DeGufo's world was flowing and expansive, Zeralt's world is sterile and perfectly controlled. We meet a patient known only as V.
Right, V. He's in this gray, sterile institutional room. No water, no history, just people with clipboards coming in constantly.
And they aren't just taking his temperature.
No, they're measuring the exact space between his words. They're trying to map his interiority to erase his individuality.
Because the institution's goal is what they call adhesion.
Right, like sticking to the rules.
Exactly. They want patients to seamlessly adhere to expected societal molds. And V has this condition called asynchrony, meaning he fails to adhere to their schedules, he's hungry at the wrong times, awake at the wrong times.
So they medicate him to fix his asynchrony.
But the medication does something much darker.
Yeah, here's where it gets really interesting. V realizes the pills aren't treating a disease. They are actively subtracting his self, leaving behind this compliant shell that the text calls a product.
It's terrifying because it works so smoothly.
But isn't the scariest part here that they don't even use physical force? They just make the alternative resistance too exhausting to maintain.
Oh, absolutely. They engineer compliance to be the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
It's exhausting to constantly fight the assessments and hide the pills.
So to survive, V has to split his mind. He stops swallowing the pills, he hides them, and fakes perfect compliance.
And that creates what the text calls the gap.
The gap.
Yeah, it's an internal separation. V's body becomes the compliant product, but he maintains this hidden, detached awareness inside the gap that just observes everything.
But he knows they'll eventually catch him. The clipboards are too precise, so he frantically starts writing.
Creating a hidden archive.
Yes. He writes his observations on these tiny scraps of paper and literally stuffs them into the walls of his transitional housing, knowing he won't be the one to use them.
Because the institution does catch him. They notice his biometric regression, and they permanently suppress his awareness with massive doses he can't hide.
V is gone, only the product remains.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
But the archive survives.
Right, years later, this new patient, L, is placed in the exact same room. She finds V's decaying papers in the walls.
And she learns from his failure.
She perfects the art of faking compliance, she protects her gap, gets released, and spends her life finding other patients to quietly pass the archive on to.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is really the only form of survival the book offers.
It's not about burning the place down.
No, not at all. It's about the transmission of residues, passing these fragments across time to help the next person survive.
Which brings us to the climax of the deep dive, the director's cut at the end of the text. It actually explains the philosophical framework behind both these authors.
Yeah, the contrast is stark. Deguffo, the Humid Functions author, is channeling Deleuze and Guattari.
Right, philosophy of flows.
Exactly. Expansive connections, flows, things escaping rigid boundaries.
Like the water.
Right. And Zerlt, the failures of adhesion author, is the negative shadow of that. Channeling Foucault, focusing on disciplinary institutions, docile bodies, isolation.
The clipboards.
Yep.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Why take you on this journey from weeping seminarians to sterile rooms? Because honestly, we all navigate apparatuses every day.
We really do.
Corporate jobs, algorithms, bureaucracies, systems that want to make us legible products. Sometimes we're like the water, deeply connected to the people around us in ways the system can't measure.
And other times we're like V.
Exactly. We have to carve out a secret gap in our minds just to maintain our individuality in a 9 to 5.
That makes you look at the foundations of your life totally differently.
It really does. So I want to leave you with a final, lingering question to ponder on your own today.
Oh, I love these.
The next time you fill out a form, conform to a schedule, or simply take a sip of water, ask yourself, what invisible traces of the past are you absorbing right now? And more importantly, what hidden archive are you writing in the walls for the next person to find?
Wow. That's a thought to sit with.
Yeah. Thank you all for taking this deep dive with us. Take care and keep exploring.